Luke, Placid Arc Stakes a fortnight ago, AJ Scahill Cup last week, so the stable's going well. Ripcord races in the Winterbottom Stakes this Saturday. Was it always the plan, or did his brilliant win in the Placid Arc change things?
It was a plan to go to the Winterbottom, but he needed to go exceptionally well in the Placid Arc, which he did, so we're going to head that way this weekend, and hopefully he can reproduce something similar to what he did a fortnight ago.
How have you viewed his preparation? He's had 4 starts, kicked off at Belmont. He appears to have improved sharply since the visors went on, and even his action, he's really letting down strongly now.
Yeah, he's just a big dumb baby really in the scheme of things. He sort of didn't know what to do. His first couple of starts, that's where it's probably come into us more beneficial to give him a few more starts than what you normally would targeting some big races, just get some racing under his belt, and it seems to be the more racing he's done, the better he's got. He's been a little bit unlucky in his previous 2 runs, and then when he got the luck the other day with the visors going on, like you said, he seemed to let down a lot better and race like a proper animal.
Luke, great to have you back in Perth with Overpass, the inaugural The Quokka winner. What's the last week been like for him since he's arrived here in Perth?
Yeah, he's been great. He seems to love it over here. He's thrived since he landed. He hasn't missed a beat. He hasn't missed a grain, and he's lovely and fresh. And I was stoked to see him yesterday that he was just glowing. So yeah, things are going well so far.
Pretty hot week as well for him to have to acclimatise to, but he took that in his stride.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Bobby, who came with him earlier in the year, she knows him pretty well and travelled away with him a few times now. And she said it never seemed to worry him at all. He's been to the beach a couple of times, and he's had a gallop on Friday and another one this morning. And yeah, he seems to be handling it all really well so far.
What sort of work did he do this morning? Worked by himself?
He worked by himself. He worked over 1200 and quickened up the last sort of 600. And we sort of tried to replicate everything we did earlier in the year, even down to the point of what he worked and when I flew over and when Björn flew over, and so a little bit of superstition involved there. But no, he seemed really good. He had a nice blow but recovered quickly, and yeah, I think he's right on track.
Barrier 10, we just saw him draw, but barrier 9, without the emergency that's drawn inside of him, the speed looks to have drawn outside of him too, so it's probably a perfect alley.
I think it looks pretty good, yeah. You've got a few drawn outside and a little bit of speed inside, so I think it probably maps to be a little bit quicker run race than the Quokka was. So he doesn't have to lead. He's a horse that can take up a handy position, sort of second or third or outside lead will be nice, but the good thing is we get to leave that up to Josh now. He has to make that decision, but he knows him pretty well, and being over here himself and having ridden him in the Quokka will be a big advantage.
Well, Rob, we saw Rothfire have just that shortened spring campaign in Melbourne, so to the benefit of that is Queensland's Summer Carnival. It's great to see a horse of his calibre racing here over the summer, and it's just a great series of races, sprint races for him here.
There is. I just wish some of them were weight for age and not these handicaps, which is going to make it tough for him. The George Moore, he's going to carry 61 kilos. Closest to his baller, I think, 57, and then down to Zoo Style, 55 and a half, the Big Goodbye, 55. Look, I want to run him. I really do, because we've got some nice races coming with the King of the Mountain, and hopefully we can qualify him for the Magic Millions. But you know, if he were to draw barrier 16, it might change my mind. But he worked super this morning. Ben Thompson, he's been great. He's done a lot of work on the horse. He's built up a nice relationship with the horse. He couldn't be any happier. Neither could I going into the race. We just need a soft draw now.
Tony, the stable's won 5 of the last 8 George Moore Stakes. It's been a good race for you.
Yeah, it has. It's been a terrific race for us, and it's probably the major sprint race really here during this Brisbane part of the Summer Carnival.
You've stacked the decks with 5 nominations. At this stage, is it the intention to accept with all 5?
Yeah, most likely. We'll just see what happens over the next 24 hours, and then probably accept with them all, then see what barriers, how that plays out for them. There are options for a few of them next week to go back to the Bribey, keep them at 1,000 or go back to the 1,000. And obviously the weather might play its part on the weekend as well.
We saw 3 of them work here at Doomben this morning. We'll get to those in a sec. You've also got All That Pizzazz and Natuno. I think punters would find Natuno a really fascinating horse. He must have been a big thrill to see him bounce back the way he did at the Sunshine Coast.
I think the ones that backed him might have found him fascinating the other day. The ones that backed the favourites might not have, but he was terrific at the Sunshine Coast. I kept him at Eagle Farm this morning. He's also likes to stay in his own routine there, so I opted not to opt him out of that routine, and I'm very happy with Natuno. Barriers are probably more important to him than track conditions.
Is there a backstory to him in terms of, we saw him, he was off the scene for a long time, and we saw him contest all those big races as a spring 3-year-old?
Yeah, he came up as an autumn 3-year-old, and he had a drill wide gate at Rose Hill, and we went forward on him, and nothing was just going right with him, so we just put him in a paddock at the back of Embrook there with a few other jumpers and that, and just got him in amongst a herd of horses. He was just getting really anxious around animals, and so we just tried to go back to absolute basics with him, then did a lot of equestrian work with him out there prior to coming back in, and just took a good long time. I always wanted to run him back here in Queensland, keep him in his home track, his home state, and just keep him in his routine here and see if we could get him back to form, and so far so good.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.